down. Put it back in the rod holder for me. We're doing something a little bit different today. Heaps of people have been asking about swordfish and how to rig them, or rig swordfish boats, right, Auds? Now, we've had a long, ongoing debate about who makes the best one. And so far, Auds' baits have caught every fish except the one that counts, which is the one Cooper caught, which was the biggest.
Holy shit! I've got the... Yep, I've got him.
Pull him up, pull him up.
He's gone under the boat, out of gear.
Pull him up, pull.
Yep.
Pull on him. Lift him up. Nice sword.
No.
Oh, fuck, he's a good one. So what we're going to do today is we're going to rig 2 swordfish boats with a frost fish that we acquired. Now, Auds is going to do, can I hold that up?
You can.
We're going to do a single hook on the tail section. So we're going to run 300 pound mome oil on there, and we're going to run a single hook on that one, whilst I am going to go the head section, which is this really, they are the ugliest, gruesome looking bait, but the fish love them. So I'm going to stitch this up and make it up as I go along pretty much. So we're going to do the 2 of them, and we're even going to go live so everyone can watch. So if you want to ask questions as well, or I should be going that way for that, we can start stitching them up. All right?
Sounds like a plan.
Your time begins now.
Oh, is it a brace as well?
Yes, it is. Checking connection.
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Oh, I know. Then I'm going to run these across there. So, stitch up the head, get the thing. Move the drink so that they can actually see you.
It's probably better if they don't see it.
Move that out of the way. So first thing I'm going to do is stitch the head section up because the teeth on a frost fish are fairly gruesome. Yeah, he's got he's got big fangs in there. And then he's got these little things. We're just going to stitch that nose up tight, so we just don't want it to abrade the line. It's nothing too special. Just going to stitch it up, just a couple of stitches in there, just to hold it nice and tight. Swordfish will eat just about anything. Like, they're not a super fussy fish, to be straight honest with you.
Fortunately.
And yeah, so it's a bit of a dog-eat-dog world down there. All right, here we go. Gonna stitch this one up. What are you doing, Auds?
Just fixing the line on to begin with before I start on the hook. And I'm doing it with a not so special stitching needle.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go and buy them. Can you believe it? We're doing it and we haven't even got any bloody stitching needles at the moment. Anyway, that's pretty stock standard. So the key is, as I said, I'm stitching up the head and I'm facing mine head first, whilst Auds is facing hers tail first. And you can see, if you hold up your skirt there, Auds, you've got a skirt that's going to fit perfectly over that. The skirts don't do anything other than help it to run up and down through the water column. Because remember, with daytime sword fishing, you're fishing your baits 250, 300 fathoms. So it's getting it up and down that's a massive part of it. There's not much you really need to do with this other than just lock it in, pull it nice and tight there, just so that it holds. As I said, because we're doing it live as well, anyone's got any questions, just ask, and if they're too complicated, just get Auds to answer them.
No.
I've got a larger skirt there if this one doesn't fit over it. I don't actually like the skirts too much. I like them to be small because I think they interfere with the hookup rate too. And a lot of the guys do trim them down a bit too. A lot of guys run the squid. I hate squid. Like, I friggin' hate the damn things.
That's an understatement.
Oh my God, I hate using them. I hate everything to do with the damn things. So I'm just going to stitch it so it sits right there. I just want the hook so it's fairly exposed up the top. It doesn't have to be super exposed, but I want it so that it sits nice and easy, which I'm going to run this through. Jim's just asked what's hook size. We're running 9/0s on there. We go through so much gear, it just gets so rusty that I thought I'd try stainless because all the swords we've been hooking have been in the mouth. So I thought, well, let's try stainless and see. If we're hooking them deep, it's going to be an issue. I don't want to be doing that if we're letting them go, but I don't want to leave hooks in them. So we're not leaving any hooks in, so we've been running stainless because we're taking them out. Good question. So now I'm going to stitch this hook in against the eye, sit him up here. So he is going to, and the great thing is I just run it through the eye. God, these things are bony bloody things.
They are, aren't they? Quite incredible.
I tell you what, it is a dog-eat-dog world down there, and you do not want to see one of these things. We've been lucky enough catching them. So our biggest sword came off one of these, and they are just an awesome bait that just rock. I tell you, swords love them. And what I'm doing is putting it through the eye of the hook, and then because I'm running two hooks on this, it's interesting, we still don't get them hooked up. Like, we haven't done a lot of gut hooking, which is really weird. They don't seem to swallow it. It's really weird. You'd think they'd be, you know, it'd be a pain in the ass, they'd be gut hooked and stuff like you do with a marlin, but with swords they're nearly all hooked in the mouth. So we're going to go around there and through there. So it's just a matter of just stitching it up. If it works, that's a good thing. So I'm just tying it so the head's secure, and that front hook, which I'll then stitch the line down onto it after. Locked in tight, which is going to be sitting like that. I'll bring it around there.
Unfortunately, it's not always about our sewing technique, is it?
No, you just got to get that first bit stitched in tight. And the beauty with fish like frostfish, like a lot of guys love squid, and as I said, I hate squid. They're hard to rig for me. I don't catch anything on them. They're just, yeah, it's just a really hard bait.
Unlike the frostfish, which is...
Frosties, which are tough as nails.
The last one that we used actually came up pretty much untouched, didn't it? Went back into the cryovac bag and...
Yep, and then went and caught another fish for us, so... Yeah, look...
Certainly last.
Yeah, they certainly do. Right, get that through there. Pull it through. Once I've got this bloody secure, I'll be happy as Larry. Alright, I'm going to pull those two tight. Again, the key is you want to get all these done before you go to sea. A lot of guys rig all their baits when they're on the water. For sword fishing, well, for any fishing really, you just can't do it. You've got to get everything done before you go, so your baits are prepped and ready. So the minute you go, especially for sword fishing, because you get so much wasted time. You know, it's...
And it's, I think, harder out there, especially if you've got a bit of a rocking ocean as well.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just going to stitch this top hook in. Now that I'm out of that bony stuff, it's starting to work a lot better.
We can't hear all of that noise in the background. We've got a building site happening just down the road.
Welcome to Sydney. Do you have any rough coordinates off Sydney? No. No one knows. This is the thing, guys. You can't... What we've got to be doing is not... Oops, I just stitched that the wrong way, not looking while I was doing it. You've got to start... Look at the charts and move, because we don't know where these swordfish are specifically at the moment. It's wide ground. So what I suggest to everyone is search. We're doing it at the moment. We're exploring. The other day we were sitting in 400 fathoms. We're fishing bloody deep for them. And just trying new areas, because we don't know where they are at the moment. We don't even know their season. We don't know... Pretty much don't know much at all about it, to be straight honest with you. So the key is that you want to... Pull that nice and tight on there, is just keep experimenting, try different areas, try different spots, and keep trying, because it's still very much a trial and error to where these damn things are, believe me.
That's part of the excitement.
Yeah. I mean,
new ground.
well, we caught that first sort of night time back in the old days when we were fishing at night, when we were doing strike zone, fish at night for them, you know.
Yeah.
And just went out and tried. So that's a big part of it. Get out there and have a crack and see. Anywhere there's structure's always worthwhile. They've caught a lot on the southern canyons. We've caught them off Browns. So, yeah, look, but just get out there and have a crack and see. Oop, get that over there. So all I'm doing is just cross-stitching over this main hook. And because these are so tough, I'd never get a job on one of the boats in Cairns, I can tell you that. Like, my stitching is absolutely appalling, but it just holds. All it needs to do is hold that hook in position. But you can see there, and it's not even super special. And the funny thing is, they just don't seem to be fussy. Like, if you're marlin fishing, you'd be like, mate, you'll never catch anything on a bait like that. But swords, they don't seem to care at all. So, yeah, it's been really interesting. Like, the guys down in Tassie have been catching on salmon and things like that. And yeah, it's fascinating that they eat such bizarre things. But frostfish, when you think about it, are the perfect thing because they're from down there. You know, that's their natural food. And a lot of the big fish we've caught have been full of swords. I caught with one with
Frosties.
yeah, not full of swords, full of frosties. Yeah, good call. You're not just here for your good looks, eh?
Lovely.
No, I don't know about that.
But you're right, that one that we pulled out, that was it Cooper's one when we opened it up? You were just pulling out armloads of
frostfish in there, yeah. It was crazy how many frostfish were in this thing.
How are you going? Nearly done?
Yep, nearly got that first hook set. And look, as I said, we won't get a job in cans, but what we're trying to show here, because so many people have been asking about it, is roughly how to do it.
And roughly is the word that we really need to highlight there.
Yep, it is rough, but it works for these guys. So you can see there that it's stitched in neatly across there, or neatly for a frostfish. And what we're going to do next is now just run this down the eye, through his eyes there, stitch it a couple of times to hold it in position. And because the big thing you've got to think of, it's not just the sword smashing it, but it's also the whole rigmarole of going up and down. I mean, you're thinking you're fishing in what, 400 to 600 metres on average. Man, that's a long way down, a long way back. And a big part of this is to make sure you present them so that when it gets down there, that it's still presentable, not tangled up. So stitching it up, even though it looks messy, nice and...
Yeah. Got to be secure, doesn't it?
It's got to be nice and rigid, not rigor.
Well, rigor is rigid, so yeah, you got a point.
There you go.
You would have got away with it.
And it's just a matter of working it there. So how are we with yours now?
Just knotting off the end.
Then stitch down neatly down there, straight down along the sides here, and then the next thing, because that's all you have to do. And they look terrible, eh? You look at it going, I would not eat that in a million years. But they bloody eat it. They love the damn thing. So we can't argue with you can't argue what they think, so.
All right. How are you feeling? You happy with how much that's locked off? Yeah?
I don't mind. It's been really interesting because we've been challenging each other and putting the baits down, and Auds has won hands down every time. Her bait has been a million times better.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, it's called the swords. The other thing we've been doing a lot of is putting down everything that we're catching. So we're putting out baits while we're out there, literally anything, and just putting them down and trying it and testing it to see what it is. So to see what we catch. So you put baits on the bottom, I should say, and then you're just checking to see what eats it. So
now, which skirt are you wanting to use?
The one that you're not.
One in there, and I'll use this one.
You run whichever. If the other one works, put the white. There's a white one under there.
Yeah, I'll take the smaller one.
Yep. So we've got a heap of skirts, like a pile of them ready to go for this exact reason. Alrighty, as you can see, the first hook is set, and we're now working on the second one. You can see here it's stitched in perfectly there. See here, we've just stitched the head in perfectly. They look a bit messy, but it doesn't matter. Now, Auds is here, as you can see there. We've stitched it up perfectly, or she stitched them up, much there to mine. And then you've done, what have you done across the top here?
Meaning as in pop the skirt on, and I'm just going to do a cross stitch to make sure the line's secured in either side of the line it goes through, and it just makes sure that the skirt can't slide up or down. Anything else?
Beautiful. Absolutely perfect. So what I'm going to do, while Auds is just finishing hers off there, I've got a second hook on this one. So I'm just going to trim this one and put it in, and then clean up the bait and put the skirt on. And you know what we're going to do tomorrow, Auds? We're going to go and buy some more bloody needles.
I was thinking that.
I don't know where all the needles are gone. Does everyone else have that problem? Comment below and tell us if everyone else seems to lose their needles like we do.
I reckon it's a trip in and out. Sometimes they're not put away properly, or they jump out of the holder, or...
I think they just... Well, no, these are rigging ones, not the live bait ones. So I just think everyone just... I think they just rust and die. They just drive you mad how you lose them.
Just taking off it's only the front 3 strands of the skirt, just to make sure that it doesn't impede the hook up. Just above where the hook is. It's just the way I like to do it.
And it's interesting because Auds is lovely and neat, and hers work a lot better than mine do. So it probably bears in mind that neatness plays a really important role when it comes to fishing.
Do you think they're swimming along there going, that's up to par, I'll bite on that one? Or they're just
They're looking at mine and going, that is just messy, filthy, dirty.
And it gets the results.
All right, so we've stitched up across the bottom here as well. And as you can see, there is the finished product. 2 hooks in there. So yeah, so you can see it's stitched it. I've stitched up the stomach. As we said, it is messy, but it really doesn't seem to matter to Swordfish. Final thing I'm going to do, Auds is already way ahead of me. We're running 10-foot leaders here, which is probably worth mentioning because I saw on the live view a few people asked that, but I didn't get a chance to answer them. And then just pop this through. Yeah, we run just 10-foot leaders, 300 pound at this stage. It doesn't seem to, I don't know, I'd like 400 sometimes, but I don't think it seems, so far it hasn't been
An issue
for us. Interestingly, with Swordfish, we don't get a lot of damage to the line or anything. And then the final part is to stitch this into position, and that holds the leader in place and basically makes everything aerodynamic for us. And again, what I just use is the offcuts from the bits I've used before to stitch that into position. And then we just pop it straight through. Of course, it's now going to be the hardest part because it's so bloody bony. Pop it down. I'm sure the guys at Yeti really appreciate the fact that I do this to their...
They have a good hard top to them, so they do make
look at that. Put it through my hand as well. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, pull it out. There we go. All good.
Nothing quite like a nice rusty needle to do it. Luckily you've got that one and not this one.
Yeah, I did it the safe way. So yeah, this will hold nice and then you just wiggle it through. Oh God. You need pliers to pull this bloody thing through.
Do you want me to get you a pair or you're good?
No, you keep working. There we go. Got it. So you just wiggle it a bit when you do it and it will pop through. There it is. And this will just make everything aerodynamic and hold it all in position. And then you just do a couple of granny knots over the top. Pull them nice and tight, and then I'm probably going to do another one around the bottom for this one as well. Just to give it extra security, because the tougher they are, the longer they last. It's that simple. And for sword fishing, we want them to last because you've got crap fish down there. That's why I'm not a big fan of squid, because squid just get absolutely annihilated by all the rubbish fish. So here we go. So this is the rig bait. It looks a bit gruesome. 2 hooks in it, 2 9-0s I think we're running. We're not running super big hooks now. We went from bigger hooks down to smaller hooks and find the smaller ones work better. But that is now aerodynamic, and despite its rather ungainly look, it is an awesome swordfish bait.
And you've even stitched its gut back in. That's
yep,
impressive.
So stitch the gut back in. And you can see here, Auds has got the single hook one, which is like that. Again, I reckon it's partially because they're so thin and they sit like that in the water. Absolutely brilliant baits. Send through any questions you've got. Remember, if you want to watch some of the other vids, girl catches swordfish, boy versus biggest swordfish. We haven't got any of Al because they're all losing swordfish. Any questions you've got, jump on and ask them. I know this is a bit rough and I've got the little camera going there to make it a bit easier, but everyone's been asking and we just did it spontaneously. So don't put any, oh, I didn't get a close enough look. Put comments below. Tell us what you like, no, don't tell us what you dislike. Just tell us what you like. All right, and remember, subscribe.